Hey, what's good, y'all? Shalom, most high Christ bless. You know what I'm saying? Just want to talk to y'all real quick. Uh, you know, it seems like every time I go to, a brother or sister and start talking about the truth and everything like that, scriptures and stuff, they always, get turned off by who we are as brothers and sisters. Our faith and everything like that. Now I understand. You know, Christ told us that they was gonna hate us because they hated him first, right? I understand that, get that, 100% clear. However, y'all got to understand, y'all brothers are supposed to be soldiers. Just like Paul said, y'all supposed to be soldiers, good soldiers in Christ. You feel what I'm saying? I did a class on this about the qualities of a good soldier. What I didn't mention was, I'm talking about brothers all across the nation of Israel, all across, the Israelite community, all across the faith. I'm talking about, and no matter what camp you in, I'm talking to all the brothers. When you first come into truth, I understand your spirit is woken to new information, new understanding, new faith, new truth, new beliefs, and you ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I was the same way. I used to tell people, man, I don't want to hear about that Christmas. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I might be in a store working somewhere and I'm a merchandiser, you feel what I'm saying? And I tell this lady, I don't celebrate that Christmas stuff. I don't do that. I don't do none of that. Stop. Paul said, be a good soldier, right? What does that mean? A soldier doesn't give away his position. You're in a spiritual war, whether you believe it or not. This is a spiritual war. A lot of the leaders in different camps, I'm talking across the board, I'm not talking about a specific camp, I'm talking across the board. Y'all need to get these newer brothers and help them understand when you come in this, stop giving away your position. It's a spiritual war for a reason. That's why they call it spiritual warfare. You're giving away your position to other spirits, not the person you're talking to. It could be a nice old lady in the store that say Merry Christmas. You're not having a spiritual war with that lady. You're having a spiritual war with that spirit she's dealing with. The spirit of Christmas, the spirit of all the wickedness. You feel what I'm saying? Now you tell that old lady, have a nice day. You don't battle with her and telling her, ma'am, I don't want to hear that Christmas. No. Think about how that looks to the people, strangers that's standing around in the store and they hear you talking like that. You giving away your position in this realm that we have to deal with. People looking at us like we're crazy because of how you new brothers are dealing with, people outside in public. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, Christ already said they're going to hate us because they hated him first, right? But check this out. When Christ walked the earth and he did his mission as a soldier, we all know he was austere and we know he loved kids because he said, be like little children. He called a little child to him. You know what I'm saying? We all know he loved, he had peace. At the same time, he was austere and he was serious. At the same time, he was joking. At the same time, he wept. You feel what I'm saying? At the same time, he had a smart mouth at times, when he was talking to the Pharisees. He was all of those things, but he was a good soldier. What was his mission? His mission was to teach. His mission was to teach. When you teach, what are you doing? You're leading by example to get other people up to here where you're at, right? You don't down talk them. They don't know what you know. Christ said, treat these as little babes. You go in public and you talk to people, show them some dignity and respect. Let your light shine. You know they ain't gonna agree with what you're saying. So don't let your ego get ahead of the mission. Be a good soldier. So let me get back to Christ. When Christ was here, we know he had all the power. He created all things, right? But he wasn't ahead of the mission. He told Paul, why did you cut his ear off? I could have did that, but that's not what I'm here for. Now, we all know in the book of Revelations, when Christ returns, what's going to happen. You feel what I'm saying? When Christ returns, That's what he was waiting on, because he knew he couldn't jump ahead of the mission. Bruh, I'm telling y'all, brothers, I'm not telling y'all to be soft. I'm not telling y'all to be wimp simps or whatever. I'm telling you, be a good soldier. Know the attributes of a soldier. You can't just walk in to their territory. And when I'm talking about their territory, I'm talking about the devil runs this world. You can't go in public and walk into his territory and he's got his eyes all over you. And believe you me, angels are there, you know, God has his eyes on you, you know, and it's a spiritual war, and you have to have composure about yourself. You can't just be walking around talking about scriptures with your homeboy in public at the store or whatever, talking about, yeah, and this is gonna happen and this is gonna no, don't talk like that, bro. You're representing every Israelite brother and sister and child out there. Hold your peace. Hold your peace. You're not teaching nobody. Who are you edifying? Who are you edifying? Y'all go out in public and y'all can have those conversations. How about this? We should move into a new era of brothers and sisters talking more scripturally coded, just like how our foreparents in slavery did. Believe you me, they was around, massa, you know, talking in codes, talking about, you know, what about the what was that, the rivers that they were talking about. Hey, we got to run by the river, when they were singing the songs and stuff like that. The follow the drinking gorge. You know what I'm saying? They were saying that around when they was working, and you know, the overseers was in the fields, in the cotton fields, listening to them talk. Oh yeah, hey sis, we're gonna follow the drinking gorge tonight. They don't know what you're talking about, but you have to talk like that. You feel what I'm saying? You use better common sense when you out in public. You feel what I'm saying? So that's all I want to tell y'all. Don't let your ego get ahead of the mission. The kingdom is the goal. It's not whoever you know, whatever you're trying to accomplish on this side. The kingdom of heaven is the goal. Get your spirit right. Stop sinning and don't look back, and be a good soldier. Just remember, Christ said, be at peace with all men. Hold your tongue, hold your peace before you respond to anybody about anything you don't believe in, and think first before you respond. All right? Sure.